Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Tarot Time. Hello, my Cancer astrology peoples. So, I am going to, and I know I've promised it, but this time I'm coming through with it. I'm going to do a specific reading for every astrological sign per month. So, because it's Cancer season, though, I want to highlight the sign of Cancer. So if you are a Cancer or you know someone who's a Cancer and you just want to get a little vibe on this person or what's happening around them, you want to be a cross watcher or you want to find out for yourself, this is the reading for you. And then like promised, for the month of August, I will be starting this. So keep your eye on the sky. I will do a specific spread for every sign. Okay, so we start off with the Devil card of Capricorn. You already know why it's covered, right? I said I wanted to clarify it, but I also wanted to cover it. I can't tell a lie. It had to be, because if I don't, social media becomes extremely pissy. That's the only word I have for you. So I covered it. And sometimes with the devil, it's really us, like we like to blame it on other people. We like to say, oh no, that's him or that's her. But sometimes it's just us, it's our fear of letting something go. It's our toxic relationships. We all have them. I think if we all did a deep dive into everything, family, friends, lovers, we would see that we all have something that needs to be gone. Limiting beliefs, trauma bonds, I could go on, addictions, I could go on, and it's any addictions, it doesn't always have to be, the big ones, drug and alcohol, it could be anything, it could be food, it could be shopping, I could go on and on. But I mean, the thing here with the devil that I've always noticed is it's easy to either drop your end. It's almost like the tug of war. It's like you drop your end of the rope and walk away, or work with the other person. Say, hey, let's have a truce here. Let's work together. Let's do something that we can both benefit from, So the Ace of Wands, I like that card because don't forget, aces are all new beginnings. Aces talk about where you can possibly go. And because it's coming after the devil, I kind of feel that it's saying, look, you have the ability to release any of this negativity energy that's around you and to soar to new places. Because when the Ace of Wands shows up, it shows really powerful energy. And I think unless you're ready to let go of the devil energy, you're not going to realize how much energy that you have, And don't forget, aces are all about motivation, inspiration. Oh, I could go on. Fresh new beginnings, new opportunities. And I feel like if you're to release the devil. So here's my theory on something, and it may be full of holes, but it's my theory nonetheless, that when we release something, we always replace it with something else, okay? Whether that's, an addiction, a relationship, we always replace it with something. I mean, I don't care. It could be like you gave up smoking and now you crochet, something simple like that. I do crochet and I did used to smoke. So I think that it's telling us that when you and the universe, because I always feel we kind of work in sync, that's your higher self, remove something negative, it's bringing something in powerful. And the Ace of Wands, don't forget, look how on fire that sucker is, And I like that it has sunflowers, because sunflowers to me are like one seed, and the next thing you know, you have a whole field of sunflowers. So I think that's something for you to think of. You know what I'm saying? It's something for you to think of, that there's a divine opportunity for you, And this is the most ironic part of the reading, I thought. And this is just a tarot thing. So strength and justice used to be reversed in older decks. And I'm sure there's a whole backstory on it, and I could get into that, but not today. But strength used to be number 11, and justice used to be number 8. Isn't that interesting? And then they switched the numbers. Not sure why. It's like rewriting the Bible. We can get into that another day too. But anyway, when you see strength, she's not wrestling that lion, if you notice. She's like working with the lion. She's using compassion instead of force. And, there's that old saying out there that you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. And I do think that's true to an extent, but I think that comment of you get more with honey than vinegar is more of something for yourself. Like, if you can really, and I've learned this over the years too, if you can really learn that the reactiveness is not necessary, and if you walk away from something where you're calmer, it just benefits you more, And it's funny because I feel this is a lesson you need to learn, my Cancers, how to, maybe it's time to just lead with compassion instead of force, or not trying to force a situation. When to know to walk away, because it brings a little bit of soul growth. And when you see anything in tarot in the infinity, like the little thingamajiggy on her head, that talks about it's a lesson, So it helps you with when you see strength, it's reaching out to you and saying, we want you to respond differently, because if you respond differently, you're going to get different results, okay? So maybe that's too part of that devil, you're very reactive, and you only figured out there was one way to handle a situation, when in fact, there's a few ways to handle a situation. But sometimes we all get caught up in our own little world of what we believe in. And I'm putting my hands in here because, like I said, hey guys, got to get the nails done next week. Because if I don't, I will come back on screen. But I like showing the cards because it's easier. And then people are like, I couldn't see the cards because of this or that. And I'm just like, oh, for Pete's sakes. So now we're on to justice. And, this is where everything's going to get a little interesting. Justice is karma. Okay. Justice is truth, cause and effect, contracts, legal matters. Relationships, I would say that it means everyone has to answer for their actions. So I guess it would be karma. So when I see this in my Cancers reading, I say, you know what, guys, my Cancerians, you no longer have to chase fairness. I like it. Justice to me is always the scales are going to balance in your favor. And with the right hand, with the sword upright, that talks about clear communication. Now, swords are all about, and this is the card of Libra, which is the astrological sign of balance. And it's funny because I didn't do the other one. Leo, strength is a card of Leo, which is strength, but everyone thinks of strength as strong. You know what I'm saying? Or chasing something until you get it. But in reality, it's not. So back to Libra. So when I see the card of justice, I always feel that there's going to be fairness to you. So say you had an argument with someone, okay? Say you had some sort of disagreement argument, and you were actually right in the argument. And you know it, and you're tired of pushing, aka strength. You're tired of pushing, you're tired of being involved with it, and you just want easy. You just want to swim downstream. You don't want to swim upstream. And you don't want to swim upstream against the current. And all of a sudden, you're right. The person maybe texts, calls, whatever, and says to you, I want to apologize, which takes a lot of character, and it takes a lot, and says, you were right all along. You were absolutely right. So I think when justice is next to strength, strength is like, it's saying I've healed, like you feel like you have healed. And when you stop battling everything, you're kind of giving things up to the universe, if that makes sense. Like you're taking 2 steps back, you know? So we go back up to the devil for my Cancerians, and I feel like because it's next to the Ace of Wands, like that's holding back your energy. So whatever you're tied to or obsessing over, it's holding back your energy, okay? And instead of whether it's chasing a purpose, it's chasing somebody, it's like once you let it go, you are going to have all this power. And I know it's hard because here's the thing. We're all from that culture of you have to work hard or you'll never achieve what you want. Now, granted, you have to be consistent in life, but sometimes you can't keep chasing things, whether it's a person, place, or thing. Sometimes you do have to take a deep breath and take a step back, and that's when things start happening. So this real reading isn't about, no, I'm going to prove I was right or all that, and, I have the strength. This is all about kind of graduating from that sort of thing, as you could see with Strength, because she's, calm with the lion. She's feeding him a bag of flowers. She's like, please don't eat me. But I think that what's on its way for you guys is a new version of you. Okay? I think the fact that you're learning to master your emotions, and that's really important in life. And again, I'm with you. I've learned that the hard way. There was a point years ago, and I don't know if it was just with age or whatever, but there was a point years ago where I was very reactive and I had to have the last word. And I just don't do that anymore. Like now I'm probably too much of nothing. Like if I should reply, I just like, oh, I don't have the energy for you today. Once in a while I do it. Sometimes I do it on here just for humor, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't really care when people say to me, Denise, stop chit-chatting, or why'd you do this, or what. I don't really care. But, so I think your next chapter is built on fixing what was broken, okay? And you're learning to walk away from what you've done because you're learning there's a better way. And I think that Spirit is placing a lot of happiness in your path. I clarified this, like I said, for a reason, because I wanted to cover it up. So I said, just tell me exactly with the devil. And I got the 10 of Cups. And the 10 of Cups is like the utopia, okay? And I think it's really telling that it came out, and it tells you that your happiness is going to override the toxicity that is in your life. Like peace replaces chaos. Because if you look at the cards, I want you to look at the colors too, because that means a lot also. Notice how we go from dark, dark, and we start going lighter and lighter. So I think the message too is don't focus on what you're leaving behind. Focus on what's attainable in the future. Focus on what you can have, okay? So hopefully you enjoyed this. Put your comments below because that does help me steer this ship a little bit better. Like I said, I haven't been really good with YouTube, and I apologize. I've just been haphazardly throwing stuff up there. But I promised myself, I'm letting go of the devil myself, even though I'm not a Cancer. I don't even know if I have Cancer in my chart. And I am going to do things in a consistent, positive way. Okay, I promise. Now, if I do it, you can do it. All right, everyone. This is Coffee and Tarot time. I am the Queen of Wands. If you stayed with me this far, God bless you. And everybody, have a great day.